Hi, my name is John. I'm a fire inspector with Sioux Falls Fire Rescue. Today we're here to talk about home fire safety for fourth graders. And what you're about to do is go through a journey to find out how to make sure your house is safe and how to maintain it that way. But first, what you'll do is you'll receive a questionnaire like this from your teacher after you watch this video. What the questionnaire does is talks to you piece by piece what to go through and look for in your house as you're looking for these fire safety hazards. The top part, it says conducted by, that would be you, the student. Go through the entire questionnaire and check off yes or no as it applies to you. If it doesn't apply to you, if you live in an apartment or maybe a mobile home, just check it off as doesn't apply. And then when you get done with the entire survey, on the back page is a spot for your parent to sign. Okay, that you've had a chance to sit down with your parent, go through it, review what you found, and how to fix things and make your house safer for you to use. First thing we're going to talk about here today is your address. Okay, it's very important to know your address number because if you have to call 911, if you have a fire at your house and don't know your address, it makes it tougher for us to find you. So make sure you memorize your address. Make sure it's on the outside of your house like this and it's visible. Okay, sometimes people paint the numbers. Sometimes they take the numbers off to paint the house, forget to put them back on. But check that right away, make sure it's up there. It's important to have. One of the most important things you can have in your house as a life safety device would be a smoke alarm. As you can see, the one that we had in the ceiling and the one I've got in my hand can save your life. What a smoke alarm basically does is it senses smoke in the air and goes off like an alarm clock. This is what it sounds like. Beeps just like that. Its purpose is to wake you up and alert you of a fire, because if you're awake and a fire starts in your house, there's a real good chance you'll smell the smoke before anything else happens. But when you sleep at night, your nose goes to sleep, you can't smell the smoke. That's why this is very important. Now, smoke alarms though, they need care, all right? We should have a smoke alarm at least in every floor of your house, okay? One on each floor of your house and one in each bedroom. And preferably one outside your bedroom on the ceiling like this. Now with the smoke alarm, what we want to do is we want to check the battery once a month to make sure it works by pushing the test button like I just did. Once you've made sure it works, you're good to go for another month. But keep in mind a couple things. If you just have a battery inside your smoke alarm, such as this one here, this battery only lasts for so long. So we should change our batteries out once a year, at least once a year. We usually do that during daylight savings time in the fall, right around Halloween when we turn our clocks back, okay? Change your clock, change your battery is what we call it. So we're going to change your battery once a year. What you also want to do is the outside of the smoke alarm can get dusty from lint and everything else. So you want to vacuum it with a vacuum hose attachment at least once a year too. Get all that dust around because it'll keep the smoke from going inside the alarm. An important thing to think about is, like anything else, these things get old, okay? We need to replace these after they're 10 years old or older, okay? So you can find that out, but if you look on the back, on this one here, it was made in 2005. There's a date on the back stamped in here. So 2005, 10 years from now, replace it in 2015, all right? If there's no date on the back, it means it's older than 10 years and you should replace it now, all right? Now, these things should be mounted on the wall or the ceiling, like this one is up here, or on the wall, no more than 12 inches down from the ceiling. We don't want to put it too close to the ceiling because it won't detect the smoke very well, okay? So we're going to keep it up here, not down here or anyplace else because it won't do its job, which is to alert you in case there's a fire. Do you sleep with your bedroom door closed? If you don't, you should, because by closing the door acts as a barrier to keep smoke out of your bedroom, giving you more time to react to the smoke and get out of your house safely. Remember, you should always have two ways to get out of your house, either through a window or through a door. If you sleep with your bedroom door closed, you should always have a smoke alarm inside your bedroom to warn you of any fire that may happen in there also. If you have cigarette lighters or matches in your home, they should be kept out of reach of smaller children. It's best to put them up high where they can't reach them, because a lot of younger kids don't realize that all it takes is one match to burn a building down. So if you find those laying around, please pick them up and put them out of reach and let your parents know so they can find them later on. If you have candles in your home, make sure that an adult is present when they're lit. Don't leave them lit when you leave the room, blow them out. And also don't put candles anywhere close to combustible items such as things that will burn, drapes, furniture, anything else. Don't move any candles when they're lit or even after you blow the candle flame out, because the hot wax can cause burns and or cause a fire. So just let the candle stay where it's at and let it cool down. Check your extension cords to make sure that they're safe to use. If you have any doubt about the condition of the cord, replace it. Check for any cuts or nicks in the outer jacket. Make sure that you don't put them under any rugs or over hooks. They've got to be out in the open. Also, never overload your extension cord. If you use a plug that's bigger than the cord itself is, you could overload the cord and cause a risk of fire. Don't overload your electrical outlets. If it has 2 plug-ins on the outlet, just plug 2 things into it. Some people tend to use an adapter that lets them plug in more than 2 things. They're not very safe, so it's best not to use those. If you use a space heater, make sure you turn it off when you go to bed at night or when you leave the room. Also, the space heater should be plugged directly into the outlet in the wall. Do not use a space heater with an extension cord because the load is too much for the extension cord to handle. Keep the space heater away from combustible things such as drapes or furniture. Usually it's good to keep them at least 2 to 3 feet away as a safety precaution. One of the things you should know how to do in your home is to put out a grease fire in your stove if something happens while you're cooking. So if you happen to have a grease fire in a pan, the first thing you want to do, and it's very simple, is to keep a lid handy. You just take the lid and use that as a shield and put that over the pan to put the fire out. If you don't have a lid, you can use a larger pan that fits over the top of the pan you're cooking with. And place a pan like that. What that does is it smothers the fire and puts the fire out. If you don't have a bigger pan, most of us have cookie sheets in our home. We just take the cookie sheet, slide that over the top, and then let the fire go out. Another thing you can use to help put out a grease fire in your stove is baking soda. Just open the box up, dump the entire box over the fire. Don't be afraid, just dump the whole thing, okay? And that should put the fire out. Once the fire is out, reach to the back of the stove or the front, wherever the control knobs are at, and turn the burner off. And if you can, slide the pot to a cool burner and just let it sit there and cool. Don't try and move it to the sink or anyplace else, just leave it there until it cools off. Never ever put water on a grease fire. This is what will happen if you do. If you're cooking in the oven and a fire starts inside your oven, no matter what, do not open the oven door, because by opening the oven door, that lets the air in and lets the fire out and keep it get seriously burned. So leave the oven door shut. But go up to the controls and turn the oven off and then call 911. Leave the oven door closed, turn off the controls, call 911. Don't even try and put it out yourself because it could make the fire worse or spread throughout your house. If you have a wood-burning fireplace in your home, make sure you have a screen in front of the fireplace to keep any embers from flying out onto the floor in front of it. If you have a glass insert covering the front of the fireplace also, be careful because that glass insert can be very hot and you could get burned. Make sure your parents have the fireplace and the chimney inspected regularly. After you do a load of laundry, make sure you clean the lint trap out of the dryer after each use. Once a year you should clean the vent from the dryer to the outside because lint can build up over time and cause a fire. If your house is equipped with a furnace, you should have it checked out once a year by a service technician to make sure it's working properly and it's safe to use. They come by and they'll check out the flue to make sure the gases don't escape into your house, and same thing with the water heater. One thing you want to keep in mind is you should have a 3-foot clearance around your furnace in all directions and the water heater so it gets plenty of oxygen to operate. Things like boxes that are stored by there should be moved out of the way and leave the area open so it can get the air that it needs. If you have other things around your basement such as newspapers or mattresses, things that have been sitting around for a long time, it's best to clear out that stuff to make room and to make it a safer place to be. You need to have a plan to get out of your house safely. So sit down with your family and draw out a plan on a piece of paper where all the bedrooms and everything else is at, and the doors and the windows. And figure out how to get out of your house in case there's a fire. You need to know 2 ways out of every room. Once you get out of the house, you need to have a meeting place to go to, and that meeting place could be a mailbox, a tree, it could be a neighbor's house, but everybody needs to know where that place is at, and they need to go there when everybody gets out of the house. Once you have your plan figured out and have chosen a meeting place, practice this escape plan several times with your family so you will know what to do in case of a fire to get out of your house safely. Another thing you need to do is learn how to open up your bedroom windows. Ask your parents to show you how to open them up so that in the event of a fire you can get out of the house safely. One more thing you should have in your house and check regularly is a carbon monoxide detector. A carbon monoxide detector detects dangerous gas that can harm you or your family. And you plug it into an outlet outside your bedrooms, and what it does is when it senses that gas, it sets an alarm off, similar to your smoke alarm, but it sounds differently. What we'll do now is we'll plug it into the wall to show you how it should be installed in your house, but remember, follow the manufacturer's instructions that come with the alarm to make sure you install it properly. If you don't have a carbon monoxide detector in your home, talk to your parents about purchasing one. Our final stop today on the hunt for home hazards is the garage. We're going to look at how gasoline is stored and how we should keep it that way. Gasoline should be stored in a red container such as this. It tells people that it's dangerous because red's a universal color for danger. It's got gasoline on the outside, it's got a spout on the top, and a cap to keep the gasoline in. It's the gas vapors that ignite, not the liquid. So it's real important not to store gasoline in your house or anywhere in your basement. Keep it outside, or if it does spill, the air will kind of help it dissipate because it's an ignition source such as a furnace or a spark that can ignite it. So make sure it stays outside and keep it away from kids. And this concludes today's Hunt for Home Hazards. After you finish watching this video, your teacher will give you a questionnaire to take home to your family to go through and try and find some of these hazards we talked about today. After you finish the questionnaire and have your parents sign it, bring it back to your teacher and we will schedule a meeting in the next week or so to come and talk to you about what you found and how to make your home and family safer. Thank you for doing this.